grim darkness of the far future, death wears many faces. Among the Imperium's most terrible champions are the assassins of the Officio Assassinorum, the secret killing temples answerable only to the Emperor and his High Lords. Assassins are the deadly agents of the High Lords of Terra, and among the most feared of the Imperium's weapons. Each assassin is crafted for a single purpose: to slay a designated target, no matter the odds or obstacles in their way. They will not rest nor retreat until either they or their victim is dead. In truth, they are terrifying. Genetically engineered killing machines, bristling with arcane technology, bred to slaughter their foes by any means necessary, whether by invisibility and poison or by pure rage and psychic terror. All 6 great temples of the Officio exist to prosecute death. Each clade of assassins specializes in a single form of killing suited to a particular threat. But all are masters of death, and few who die by their hand ever see them coming. No mere fallible agents of the Administratum or Inquisition, Officio assassins are an order older than both. In secret convocation on Terra, even before the Horus Heresy, Malcador the Sigillite and the first Masters of Assassins forged this pact. No traitor or heretic could escape the Emperor's blade. They formed temples upon the Emperor's secret command, swearing in the shadow of the Great Crusade that there would be no safe place to hide anywhere in the galaxy. For those who draw the eye of the High Lords, fate comes suddenly. The Officio does not investigate or judge. We do not determine the guilty. We do not decide the punishment. We are merely the cold instruments of the Emperor's vengeance. Each Templar wields that vengeance like a sharpened tool, striking without mercy. By decree, they serve only the Emperor's will, taking every assignment with fanatical devotion. As one assassin's code proclaims, their mission ends only in death, either his or his target's. They are death made manifest, lurking in the shadows beyond even the Inquisition's reach, the hidden blades of the Imperium. For they truly are as relentless and inescapable as the march of time itself, patient, hidden, utterly deadly. In whispered halls and darkened alcoves, the 6 primary temples are each known by name and dread reputation. The Vindicare Temple produces the deadliest snipers imaginable. Vindicare operatives are surgical marksmen trained to score a kill with a single, perfect shot. No distance is too great, no darkness too deep. Clad in chameleon stealth suits, they deploy a breathtaking array of gear to hit impossible targets. Each Vindicare carries the matched Exodus rifle and pistol, weapons of famed craftsmanship, loaded with special miniaturized targeting spirits and exotic ammunition capable of punching through ceramite or corrupt warp spawn. On infiltration missions, they use synskin and stealth nanoweaves to blend into any environment. They are instructed in the mantra that the outcome justifies the deed. In Latin, exitus acta probat, the inscrutable creed of their temple. To a Vindicare assassin, all that matters is the final shot, the precision marksmanship with which the Emperor's enemies fall. It is said some Vindicare will even spend years in place, awaiting the perfect moment. In one famous case, the assassin Daedjedris Garamach stalked a predatory Dark Eldar pilot known only as the Skyknife. He set himself in the shadow of a gargantuan imperial statue on Threndia, perched in the statue's eye socket, subsisting on moss and raw bird flesh to remain undetected. Years passed as the Dark Eldar chased glory across the stars. Finally, after 6 years of silent vigil, the moment came. In a flash of azure light, the Skyknife's flying razor wing appeared in the sky. Garamach did not waver. He squeezed off one surgical shot. The special turbo-penetrator round thundered across miles of empty air and tore through the Nightingale cockpit. In an instant, the sky knife was killed. The body slumped in its seat, wrecked in place, and a single Vindicare bullet stood as the sole witness to that deed. Such was the temple's ideal. A single action, clean and permanent, so that thousands who might have been corrupted by heresy have been disheartened by the sudden death of their false messiahs. A heretical preacher, a rogue lord, a daemon host beneath ceramic armor, all have fallen to the Vindicare's bullet, a well-aimed shot that ends whole rebellions. Once the shot is fired, the assassin vanishes into the void, leaving nothing but emptiness and a corpse in its wake. From deepest shadows come the agents of the Callidus Temple, living masquerades and consummate infiltrators. Where the Vindicare strikes from afar, the Callidus assassin comes up close. Trained to lose herself completely in any role, a Callidus sister can walk into the nest of vipers unseen, wearing any face she chooses. Their hearts are submerged in neurotransmitters, and their bodies drench themselves in polymorphine, chemical treatments that let them alter their skin color, facial structure, even the patterns of their iris. They master dozens of poisons and perfume toxins and carry hidden weapons such as phase swords or injector needles in secret compartments. Lying in wait at a noble's ball or a temple ritual, they'll swap bodies with an astropath or impersonate a long-lost twin, and then strike with horrifying effect. The creed of a Callidus assassin speaks to their lethal craft. In their own words, "We are the killing tools of the Imperium. We live to honor the Callidus Temple and die to serve the Emperor." Their Dictatus Callidus drives them onward, to assume the shape of the accursed and deliver death from the purity within you, that is, to be Callidus. They see every face, know every weakness, and to them, death wears 1,000 masks. Few stories capture the Callidus horror better than the so-called Mother Gullet incident. According to imperial legend, a planetary governor on a distant world defied imperial rule, crippled by his own love for his infant son. When all subterfuge failed, the Officio sent a Callidus assassin to retrieve the child. The sister underwent total transformation. Posing as the baby's nanny, she coated herself in the right scent and melody of a child. But instead of carrying the infant out, she did something unthinkable. Using polymorphine, she literally swallowed the child whole, hiding him in the acid-lined cavern of her own stomach. In this way, she strolled past all guards and portcullis with no suspicion. When she finally reached safe ground, the tiny prince was spat out, alive and unharmed, but frightened. As proof of the deed, the assassin sent pig skulls to the governor showing the stunt. The sight was enough to break his will. Within a week, the world yielded to imperial rule. The assassin herself vanished afterward, celebrated in murderous infamy as Mother Gullet. This grim tale, preserved in the Officio's own chronicles, is not myth. It stands as testament to the Callidus creed that no corpse, no matter how seemingly impossible to acquire, can thwart an imperial command. They are the serpent in the garden, drawing blood from within. For close-quarters slaughter, no temple is more feared than the Eversor Temple. Eversor assassins are living engines of wrath and rage. Each is a mad killer encased in living armor of adrenal filaments. Their bodies are weaponized, glands of death, endless stims and hyperboons pumped into cracked veins. When an Eversor is unleashed, they descend into holy madness, a berserker spirit possessing them. They wield raw, brutal instruments of death, hooked combat rifles, razor, chain blades called razor jacks, poisoned knives, and even walking bombs sealed into their chests. No honor binds them. Intimidation and awe are their tools. To everyone else, they are a vision of terror. One guiding verse of their sacrament declares that they will sow the seeds of damnation and reap the souls of the tainted, even as their own dictatus thunderously demands, "Fear me, for I am your apocalypse, beneath the white death mask of an Eversor. Nothing human remains but a killing drive. When they hunt, even a crippled space lord or demonic abomination can find no mercy. They charge into battle as a contagion. Imperial doctrine warns all who consort with psychers or chaos that the Eversor follows. It is as if the fury of the Emperor himself has come to life in a single shrouded figure. The Officio loves to tell examples of Eversor cruelty as dark jokes. In one notorious case from M35, the sprawl world Thugrock Secundus, a brutal training ground of Apuman Goliaths, suffered horribly. The ruling caste had fallen to a blood cult, and the High Lords ordered their eradication. Through some bureaucratic error, 6 Eversor assassins were sent in at once. The result was catastrophic, but not as planned. By the time the lone surviving Eversor was dragged free of the carnage, not one Thugrock Goliath was left alive. The risen lords were all wiped out, and in the process, nearly 1,000 strongbacks had themselves perished under the most brutal fury. The Astra Militarum's leaders were furious that such a valuable recruitment pool had been squandered, but the Officio only shrugged. Even they had not expected 6 of their demons to be necessary, and now as a warning the incident is told over and over. If you use 2 Eversors, just use 1. The point being, you cannot contain the fury of 1, let alone 6. Stories like these echo in every barracks. The Eversor's preferred method is the total bloodletting. When they turn loose, the very concept of self-preservation dies. To counter the psychic plague of chaos, the Officio also fields warriors of negative will, the Culexus assassins. Clad in ebony rumpled robes and featureless skull helms, a Culexus assassin is the dark antithesis of the warp. They are blanks, human souls chemically and cerebrally flawed so that chaos and psychers feel revulsion in their presence. They weaponize pure nothingness. A Culexus boasts specialized anti-psyker weapons, raptor-long rifles that fire null bolts, gleaming staves that drain consciousness, electrical scourges that disrupt warp auras, and even living void dragon familiars that seep cold death. No psychic blade can penetrate their own hollow hearts. No fortune is hidden from their detached eyes. Their temple's motto is chillingly succinct. That which is unknown and unseen always commands the greatest fear. And indeed, the mere apparition of a Culexus can send out hostiles fleeing in terror. When they strike, it is not through dexterity, but through annihilation of will. Their brief contact with a victim often overloads the foe's mind, like crushing a bug with a single footfall. One famous Culexus mission exemplifies their lethality. In the dying days of 41st millennia, a Culexus known only as the Revoker hunted a whole cult of rogue psychers. These madmen, called the Gestalt, believed they could bind their fractured minds into a psychic Gestalt. The Revoker was sent to end their heresy, and he did, utterly. In that one strike, the assassin annihilated an entire group of rogue psychers known as the Gestalt. In the aftermath, nothing remained of those warp-touched souls. No corpse, no echo of warp voice, just absolute silence. To the Imperium's dread operatives, there was no higher compliment. He had cleansed the galaxy of an entire psychic contagion in one dark moment. Against foes that rely on poison, sabotage, and subtlety stands the Temple of Venenum, the masters of toxins and unseen death. Venenum assassins are the hidden vipers of the Officio. Trained only in the art of poison, they carry vials of impossible venoms, careful breeding, created pathogens, and exotic biochemical tricks unimaginable elsewhere in the Imperium. Where the Vindicare stays at range and the Eversor charges in fists first, a Venenum assassin seeks to make every laugh contain a curse, every handshake a bullet. They will infiltrate senatorial courts and medical bays alike, leaving a lethally poisoned brushstroke that takes days to work, or a single seed of spore that bursts into plague. They listen for heartbeats in councils and slip germs into the water system. The Venenum know that the deadliest enemy is one who suspects nothing. Their training is the quietest of all. Their strikes leave no fire, no bolt of power, just slow poison coursing into the veins of billions, twisting history from within. One canonical example shows the Venenum's cunning. In M37, assassin Uruha Thero was sent to kill a renegade planetary governor named Yawel on the planet Morisha. But fate intervened in true imperial fashion. A warp rift pinned her transport in stasis for nearly 700 years before it arrived. By the time Thero reached the planet, her target was dead of old age, and his throne had been replaced by a massive anti-imperial council of well over 1,000 leaders. Her mission had abruptly turned from a single mark to 1,000. Nevertheless, she persevered. Thero spent 3 days silently sliding microscopic poison into each of the council, chambers' seats just before their huge meeting. That day, when the assembly convened, all 1,000 councillors slumped and died from her secret toxin. When the Imperium later discovered what happened, the High Lords quietly commended her for efficiency. Where armies might have failed, a single assassin had solved the problem with a subtlety none expected. It is hard to see her at all, but after she acts, the world knows that one of their own chairs was treacherous. The newest and least understood temple is Vanus, the infocytes. Where all other temples kill, the Vanus do not typically strike with a gun or knife. Instead, they kill with information. Vanus assassins are raised with great brains, literal human war computers, hooked to data streams and graced, or cursed, with rare extrasensory talents. Most Vanus operatives spend their missions light years away from the blood and guts, perched at hololithic data panes in hidden sanctums or on stealth void ships. They feed on the web and the machine, hacking into enemy networks, reading minds from afar, and manipulating fleets through streams of covert orders. Each infocyte is augmented with cogitators, virtual realties, and swarms of microscopic data scouts. Their motto quite literally tells their story. The cleanest kill is one that another performs in your stead, with no knowledge of your incitement. In other words, Venus engineers the catastrophe and watches from the shadows. Often someone else will pull the trigger or cry, "Charge," while the infocyte smiles unseen. In a way, Vanus agents are the Officio's supreme assassins of fate. They might not leave a smoking gun or an open grave, but a client somewhere always dies. Vanus have been at work manipulating the tides of war for millennia. For example, in the Horus Heresy, a Vanus operative named Fon Tariel helped plan the first strike on War Master Horus. His machines told him the chance of success was almost nil, only 0.2%, and indeed, the task fell to others. Nevertheless, his calm analysis and clandestine jiggerings earned their place in history. In more recent eras, unnamed Vanus agents have taken credit for turning traitor plans against themselves. A spy network suddenly routes autocannon shells back into a fallen commander's own tank ranks. A servo skull loiters near the ignition panel when a war master presses the self-destruct. If such feats exist, and rumor claims they do, the kill would never be traced back. Across these temples runs the same grim theme. The Officio Assassinorum is the embodiment of secret vengeance. From the ice blast of a long-distance shot to the quiet drip of a congealed toxin, from the crushing blow of a hooked sword to the nothingness that defies the warp, each assassin is a single-minded weapon. Imperial assassins are terrifying, wrote one Imperial chronicler, killing machines, bristling with arcane technology and bred to slaughter their targets. Cursed be he who sits in judgment over others, for the Officio's hand will fall on his throat in the Emperor's name, swift and merciless. Every creed of every temple teaches the same lesson. The Emperor requires death, and these servants deliver it. So look warily into the shadows, for somewhere there, beyond sight and sound, a Templar of the Officio treads silently. By doctrine and dogma, they serve the Emperor with death, and for his sake, they will not fail.